The great meeting hall was huge. It floated in space like a giant crystal bubble. Inside, creatures from across the galaxy sat in rows that went up to the ceiling. Some had scales, some had fur, and some looked like walking rocks. They all came to the Galactic Council for one reason. War was coming. Captain Hyunwoo Kim sat in the human section. He was young for a captain, maybe 30 years old. His dark hair was cut short, and his uniform was simple blue and gray. Next to him sat two other humans. They looked small compared to the alien creatures around them. The humans were new here. They had only learned to travel between stars 50 years ago. Most aliens still thought of them as babies who had just learned to walk. At the front of the hall, an old alien stood up. His name was Vextor. He had 6 arms and skin that looked like silver metal. His eyes were like diamonds. They had many sides and caught the light. Vextor was very old. He had lived for 800 years and seen many wars. "Friends," Vextor said. His voice was soft, but everyone could hear it. 3 days ago, something terrible happened. The Drakmari Empire attacked the human world called New Busan. They killed 50,000 people. These were not soldiers. They were families, children, old people. A big creature stood up in the Drakmari section. This was War Chief Karntek. He looked like a giant lizard that walked on 2 legs. His teeth were long and sharp. His red eyes glowed like fire. "The humans are weak," Karntek said. His voice was loud and rough. "They should have given us that world when we asked. Now they will learn what happens when they say no to the Drakmari Empire." Other aliens in the hall made worried sounds. The Drakmari were known for their wars. They had conquered many worlds. When they attacked, most species would surrender quickly, rather than fight. Vextor looked at Karntek with his diamond eyes. "War Chief, you have made a terrible mistake. I have studied many species in my long life. I have watched empires rise and fall, but I have never seen anything like the humans." "What do you mean, old one?" Karntek laughed. The sound was like rocks falling. "They have small ships and weak weapons. My fleet has 2,000 warships. The humans have maybe 300. That is exactly why you will lose," Vextor said. "You look at their small fleet and think they are weak. You see them try to make peace and think they are afraid. But you do not understand what humans really are." The hall became very quiet. Even the smallest aliens stopped moving. Vextor continued. "I have read their history. Humans fought wars on their homeworld for thousands of years. When other species fight, they stop when it becomes too hard or too expensive. Humans are different. When someone hurts their people, they do not stop fighting until the problem is gone forever." Captain Kim stood up. He was not very tall, but something in his eyes made other aliens look at him. "War Chief Karntek," he said. His voice was calm, but there was steel underneath it. "You attacked our people without warning. You killed innocent families. We are giving you one chance to leave our space and pay for what you did." Karntek's laugh was even louder this time. "One chance? Little human, my smallest battle group has more ships than your entire fleet. What will you do? Throw your toy ships at my armada?" "Yes," Kim said simply. "If we have to. But understand this. Once you make us fight, we will not stop until every one of your ships is destroyed and every world you control belongs to Earth." The war chief's eyes got brighter. He liked the idea of a good fight. "Then we will see how brave you are when you face real warriors." After the meeting ended, many aliens left quickly. They did not want to be near this coming war. But Vextor walked over to Captain Kim. "I tried to warn him," the old alien said sadly. "Your species scares me more than any other I have met. Not because you are the strongest or the fastest. You scare me because you never give up." Kim looked out the big window at the stars. "We did not want this war, Vextor. We came to the council hoping to solve this with words, but they killed our people, our children." "I know," Vextor said. "That is what makes you so dangerous. Other species fight for land or power or money. When the cost gets too high, they make peace. But humans fight for something else." "What do you mean?" "You fight for the idea that actions have results. that people who hurt others must face the consequences. Most species forget their anger after a while. Humans remember forever. Kim thought about New Busan. He had friends there. Good people who just wanted to live in peace and raise their families. Now they were gone, killed by warriors who thought humans would be too scared to fight back. My daughter was going to study a New Busan next year, Kim said quietly. She wanted to be a teacher. Now that school is gone, those children are gone. Vextor's 6 arms moved in what humans learned was a sign of sadness among his people. And that is why Karntek has doomed his empire. He thinks this is about ships and weapons, but for you, this is about justice for those children. You will fight until that justice is done, no matter how long it takes. The war chief seems confident, Kim said. He is confident because he does not understand what he has awakened. Vextor replied. The Drakmari fight until they win or lose. Then they go home and forget about it. But you will not forget. You will not forgive. And you will never, ever stop until this is finished. Kim nodded. We offered them peace. We tried to solve this without more death. But they chose war. And now they will learn what human war really means, Vextor said. I have seen your history. You fought each other for thousands of years, and those wars taught you something that no other species knows. What is that? How to turn your entire civilization into a weapon when you need to. When humans decide something must be done, every factory, every ship, every person becomes part of that effort. The Drakmari think they are fighting your fleet. They do not realize they are fighting your entire species. As they talked, news came in from human space. Earth had declared total mobilization. Every shipyard was working day and night. Civilian ships were being turned into warships. Millions of humans were volunteering for military service. It has already begun, Kim said. By the time we reach Drakmari space, we will have twice as many ships as we do now. And in a year? Vextor asked. In a year, we will have 10 times as many. We will keep building until this is over. Vextor looked out at the stars where the Drakmari fleet was heading toward human space. They think they are going to conquer a small, weak species. Instead, they are about to learn why the galaxy should fear the humans above all others. We do not want to be feared, Kim said. We want to be left in peace. I know, Vextor said, sadly, and that is what makes you most terrifying of all. 6 months had passed since the big meeting. War Chief Karntek stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Bloodfang. Through the giant window, he could see his fleet spreading across space like a metal ocean. 2,000 warships, the biggest, attack force the Drakmari Empire had ever built. Look at them, Karntek said to his officers. His red eyes glowed with pride. No species in the galaxy has ever seen such power. The humans will run when they see us coming. His second officer, Grixtal, was looking at a screen full of numbers. War Chief, our scouts report the human defense fleet has only 300 ships. They are retreating toward their inner worlds. Of course they are running, Karntek laughed. I told you these mammals were cowards. By tomorrow their leaders will beg us to stop. Then we will take all their worlds and show the galaxy what happens to those who refuse the Drakmari Empire. But far away, on the human flagship Inchin's Resolve, Admiral Soonja Park was not running. She was planning. The 50-year-old woman had gray hair and calm eyes. She had studied every Drakmari battle for the past 20 years. She knew exactly how they fought. Report, she said to her officers. Admiral, the Drakmari fleet is moving just like we expected, said Commander Donghyun Lee. He was young but very smart. They are keeping all their ships together in one big group. They think we are afraid. Good, Admiral Park smiled. Let them think that. Are our hidden ships ready? Yes, Admiral, said Intelligence Officer Ji-Hai. Oh. 50 stealth ships are waiting in the asteroid belt. They have been hiding there for 3 weeks. The Drakmari cannot see them. Admiral Park looked at the star map on her table. Red dots showed where the Drakmari fleet was moving. Blue dots showed where human ships were hiding. The Drakmari thought they were chasing a scared enemy. They had no idea they were walking into a trap. The Drakmari have always fought the same way. Admiral Park explained to her staff. They bring a big fleet, smash into the enemy, and win by being stronger. It worked for them for hundreds of years. But not against us? Asked Commander Lee. No. Because we do not fight fair. We fight to win. The Drakmari fleet entered the Kepler system like a storm of metal and fire. The asteroid belt here was thick, with rocks and old mining stations. It was the perfect place for an ambush. War Chief Karntek watched his screens as they flew deeper into the belt. "Where are the human ships?" he asked. "Our scout said they were here." "Maybe they ran away." "Completely," suggested one of his officers. "Cowards," Karntek spat. "Not even brave enough to fight. This war will be over in a week." That was when the hidden human ships attacked. 50 small ships suddenly appeared from behind asteroids and dead space stations. But these were not normal warships. They were filled with antimatter bombs and controlled by computers. They flew straight at the Drakmari ships like missiles. The explosions lit up space like new suns. In 15 minutes, 400 Drakmari ships were destroyed. 300 more were badly damaged. The great fleet that had seemed so powerful was suddenly much smaller. "What happened?" Karntek roared. "How did they hide so many ships?" "Sir, they were not ships," his sensor officer said with fear in his voice. "They were bombs with engines, suicide weapons." "Honorless cowards," Karntek screamed. "Face us in real battle." But the human ships that were left did not stay to fight. They attacked fast and then disappeared again. Small groups of human ships would appear from nowhere, hit a few Drakmari vessels, and vanish before anyone could shoot back. Commander Tai Min, Cho led one of these attack groups. His destroyer Guangzhou's Fury was fast and hard to see. His job was to attack Drakmari supply ships, the vessels that carried food, fuel, and ammunition to the big fleet. "Remember," he told his crew, "we are not here to be heroes. We hit them and run. Make them use up their supplies chasing us." The attacks worked perfectly. Every time the Drakmari fleet tried to move, human ships would appear and cause damage. The big lizard warriors were getting more and more angry. They were used to fighting enemies who would stand still and fight back properly. "This is not war," Karntek complained to his officers. "This is like fighting ghosts. They attack and disappear. Where is their honor?" Sub-Commander Grixtal was worried. He had been counting their losses. "War Chief, we have lost 600 ships in these small attacks. Our supply lines are under constant attack. Maybe we should think about what?" Karntek's voice was dangerous. "Retreat? The Drakmari Empire does not retreat from mammals." But privately, the war chief was starting to understand what the old alien Vextor had meant. The humans were not fighting to win battles, they were fighting to win the war. Every attack was planned to cause maximum damage while losing as few human ships as possible. The real shock came when Drakmari intelligence found out something terrible. The human fleet was getting bigger, not smaller. While the Drakmari were losing ships every day, the humans were building new ones. "How is this possible?" Karntek demanded, looking at the spy reports. "They started with 300 ships, now they have 500. Where are they coming from?" The answer was simple, but frightening. Earth had turned its entire civilization into a war machine. Every factory that used to make cars was now making spaceships. Every company that built computers was now building weapons. Millions of humans had volunteered to fight. On Earth, in the great shipyards above the planet, engineer Eugene Choi was working 20 hours a day. She was building new ships faster than anyone thought possible. "We are not just building warships," she explained to the news reporters. "We are building the factories to build warships. Every new facility can make 10 more facilities." The humans had learned something that the Drakmari did not understand. When humans decide something must be done, they do not just send their army. They turn their whole society into an army. War Chief Karntek received another report that made his blood run cold. "Sir, our scouts report that human colonies on 50 different worlds are all building ships and training soldiers. They are not just fighting us with their fleet, they are fighting us with their entire species." For the first time since the war began, Karntek felt afraid. The Drakmari had fought many species, but they had never fought anyone like this. Most enemies would fight until it cost too much, then make peace. The humans seemed willing to fight forever. "War Chief," Grixtal said quietly, "our supply situation is getting critical. The humans keep destroying our supply ships. Our big fleet needs a lot of food and fuel. If this continues..." "If this continues what?" Karntek asked, though he already knew the answer. "If this continues, we will run out of supplies before we reach their homeworlds. We might have to turn back." Karntek looked out at space, where human ships flickered in and out of sight like hunting wolves. The great Drakmari fleet that had seemed so powerful was being slowly eaten alive by an enemy that refused to fight fair. The war chief finally understood Vextor's warning. The humans were not just fighting 300 ships against 2,000. They were fighting their entire civilization against the Drakmari Empire. And their civilization was growing stronger every day. "How long can they keep this up?" Karntek asked. Grixtal looked at the intelligence reports about human production. "According to our spies, sir, they can keep this up forever. They have turned war into an industry. The longer we fight, the stronger they get." As the first year of war ended, the Drakmari Empire faced a terrible truth. They were not fighting a small, weak species that would surrender quickly. They were fighting humanity itself, and humanity had decided that the Drakmari Empire must be stopped at any cost. The hunt had begun, and the humans would never let go. 2 years had passed since the war began. The Drakmari Empire was facing something they had never seen before: defeat. What started as a simple conquest had become a nightmare that grew worse every day. Fleet Admiral Sung Ho Yoon sat in his command room aboard the mobile space station New Seoul. Unlike other military leaders who planned single battles, he and his team were planning a war that might last 50 years. The humans had accepted that this fight could take generations, and they were ready for exactly that. "Give me the report," Admiral Yoon said to his officers. Intelligence Chief Haewon Kim pointed to a big star map. Red areas showed Drakmari space. Many of the red areas were now marked with black X's. "Sir, the Drakmari have abandoned 17 colonies in the past month. They are pulling all their forces back to protect their most important worlds. They are learning to be afraid," said General Myung-Soo Jang, the head of the Marine soldiers. "But it is too late. Our secret teams are already on their planets." The human way of fighting had grown beyond what the Drakmari could understand. While the lizard warriors thought about fleets and big battles, humans thought about entire star systems and whole civilizations. They did not just want to beat Drakmari forces. They wanted to make sure the Drakmari could never hurt human families again. Captain Yoon Ji-seo commanded a stealth ship called Daegu Shadow. Her mission was not to destroy Drakmari military bases. Her target was something much more valuable: the central computer database on the planet Krathmore, where the Drakmari kept all their secrets. "Remember," she told her Special Forces team, "we are not here to blow things up. We want to copy everything: their technology, their star maps, their messages to other planets, their military plans. Information is our best weapon." The mission worked better than anyone hoped. The human soldiers, wearing special suits that could change to look like anything, snuck into the most protected Drakmari building in the galaxy. They did not just steal data. They left behind computer programs that would keep sending information to humans for years to come. But the psychological warfare was even more effective than the spying. The humans had studied Drakmari culture and found their biggest weakness. Their society was built on honor and strict rules. They could not adapt to the way humans fought. Dr. In-suk Park, the human expert on alien minds, explained to Admiral Yoon, "The Drakmari brain cannot process our methods. They think our refusal to fight honorably means we are cowards, but they cannot explain how cowards keep winning. This is breaking their minds." The proof came from intercepted Drakmari communications. Their military leaders were arguing constantly about human tactics. Some wanted to fight even harder, while others secretly wanted to make peace. The unity that once made them strong was falling apart under the pressure of fighting an enemy that would not follow their rules. War Chief Karntek, now showing signs of the stress that had consumed his empire, held desperate strategy meetings. How do we fight an enemy that is everywhere and nowhere? He asked his advisors. Our scouts report human ships in systems we thought were safe. Our colonies go silent without sending distress calls. Our supply convoys disappear like they never existed. The terrible truth was that humans had spent 2 years mapping every Drakmari world, every trade route, every defensive position. They had broken into communication networks, taken control of computer systems, and found allies among the species that the Drakmari had conquered. Subcommander Grixtal, now promoted after his predecessor had a nervous breakdown, made a disturbing discovery. Sir, intelligence suggests the humans have built permanent bases in 17 systems inside our territory. Not temporary camps, fully equipped installations with factories. This news horrified the Drakmari leadership. The humans were not just invading, they were colonizing Drakmari space while the war continued. They were building the foundation for a conflict that could last centuries, treating Drakmari territory as if it already belonged to Earth. The most frightening aspect was human industrial capacity. Every month, their fleet grew larger, while Drakmari numbers got smaller. Human shipyards, protected by increasingly strong defenses, produced ships faster than the Drakmari could destroy them. Senior engineer Eugene Choi oversaw construction at the mobile shipyard Busan's Forge, hidden in an asteroid belt of a captured system. We are not just building warships, Crow, she explained to visiting officials. We are building the infrastructure to build warships. Every facility we construct can create 10 more. The humans had also started recruiting allies. Species that the Drakmari had conquered or threatened were secretly helping the human war effort. Information flowed to human commanders. Sabotage operations struck Drakmari facilities. Rebellion spread through the empire. On the world of Theta Prime, the local Vorthan people had been slaves of the Drakmari for 50 years. When human agents contacted them, they were eager to help. The lizards took our children to be soldiers, explained Vorthan leader Kesra to the human operative. They destroyed our cities and made us work in their mines. We will do anything to be free. Soon, Vorthan saboteurs were destroying Drakmari supply depots and communication stations. The rebellion spread to dozens of worlds. The Drakmari Empire was being eaten from within while human fleets attacked from without. War Chief Karntek received reports that made him sick with fear. Sir, we have lost contact with 43 colonies. Rebellion has broken out on 60 worlds. Our supply lines are completely cut, and the human fleet now has over 8,000 ships. 8,000? Karntek could barely believe it. They started with 300. Yes, sir, and according to our spies, they are building more every day. Earth alone is producing 50 new warships per week. Their colonies are contributing hundreds more. The Drakmari war chief stared at the reports. In 2 years, a species he had thought weak and cowardly had built a war machine that dwarfed his empire. Worse, they showed no signs of slowing down. What do our intelligence experts say about human capabilities? Karntek asked. Grixtal consulted his datapad. Sir, they estimate that humans can sustain current production levels for at least 50 years. They have converted their entire civilization to support the war effort. Every human world is now a military base. And our capabilities? We can sustain current operations for maybe 6 more months. After that, we will not have enough ships or supplies to defend our core worlds. The full horror of the situation became clear. The Drakmari had attacked what they thought was a weak species. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant that grew stronger every day they fought it. Commander, Woojin Park demonstrated this during an attack on the Drakmari fortress world of Gextar. His ship, the Harmony's Price, used weapons that could take apart matter at the atomic level. The Drakmari defenders watched in terror as their impenetrable shields simply dissolved. We could destroy your planet in minutes, Park broadcast to the Drakmari. But we will not, because we are not destroyers. We are teachers. We are teaching you that actions have consequences. Instead of destroying the world, the humans surrounded it with ships and space stations. No one could leave. No messages could get out. The planet became a prison while humans methodically took apart the rest of the Drakmari Empire. This became the human pattern: isolation rather than destruction. Drakmari worlds were cut off from each other, unable to coordinate or support each other. Each world faced the choice of surrender or slow starvation. As the third year of war began, the Drakmari Empire was dying. They had lost 2/3 of their territory. Their fleet was reduced to a few hundred ships. Rebellion was spreading through their remaining worlds, but the humans were just getting started. Their fleet now numbered 12,000 ships and was still growing. They had built so many factories and shipyards that they could replace their entire fleet in 6 months if needed. Admiral Yoon received a message from Earth. The president wanted to know how much longer the war would last. "Sir," Yoon replied, "the Drakmari Empire will collapse within a year, but that is not the end. We need to make sure they can never threaten anyone again. That will take decades." The response from Earth was simple: "Take as long as you need. We will never stop supporting this effort." The galaxy watched in awe and terror as humanity demonstrated its most frightening characteristic. Once they decided something must be done, nothing could stop them from seeing it through to the end. Time, distance, cost, none of it mattered. The Drakmari had learned too late that humans never let go. 5 years had passed since the war began. The Drakmari Empire was dying. What had once been the most feared military power in the galaxy was now reduced to defending just a few core worlds against an enemy that seemed to grow stronger every day. Fleet Admiral Jae-sung Lim commanded over 5,000 ships from his flagship United Earth. This massive ship was not just a warship, it was a floating city. It had schools, hospitals, and homes for families. The humans had built cities in space to make sure their war effort could continue forever. "Begin final phase," Admiral Lim announced to his senior staff. "Operation Eternal Watch starts now." The operation's name showed human thinking. They were not just ending this war, they were making sure it could never happen again. The plan was to surround every remaining Drakmari world with permanent watching stations that would stay there for generations. General Su Young Kang led the ground forces as human soldiers landed on Drakmari colonies. But these were not conquest armies like most species used. These were occupation forces designed to stay permanently. The humans had studied the mistakes of past occupations and learned from every failure. "We are not here to rule them, General," Kang explained to her commanders. "We are here to make sure they can never again threaten human families. Every Drakmari world will have a human presence until we are convinced they have truly given up their aggressive culture." The psychological impact on the Drakmari was devastating. War Chief Grixtal, now leading what was left of their government, faced a choice between surrender and complete extinction. Intelligence reports showed that humans had developed increasingly deadly weapon systems, including robot warships that could continue fighting even if Earth itself was destroyed. Dr. Kyung-mi Han, the chief alien biology expert, sent a message to the Drakmari leadership. "Your empire attacked our colonies believing we were weak. You have learned that we are not weak, but I do not think you understand why. Humans do not fight for territory or resources. We fight for the principle that those who harm our people must face consequences. That principle does not have an expiration date. The most terrifying aspect for the Drakmari was human technological advancement. 5 years of total war had pushed human development forward by centuries. Technologies that might have taken decades to develop in peacetime had been perfected in months under wartime pressure. Commander Woo Jin Park demonstrated this during the siege of Krathmore, the Drakmari homeworld. His ship, the Harmony's Price, used weapons that could break apart matter at the molecular level. "We could destroy your planet in minutes," he broadcast to the Drakmari defenders. "But we will not, because we are not conquerors. We are teachers. We are teaching you that actions have consequences." The siege itself showed human strategy. Rather than attacking the planet directly, they simply surrounded it with ships that nothing could pass through. No ships could enter or leave. No messages could reach beyond the system. The Drakmari homeworld became a prison, isolated from the galaxy while humans systematically dismantled the remainder of their empire. Vextor, the ancient alien diplomat, who had first warned against attacking humans, arrived at the human command station under a flag of peace. Admiral Lim met him in the observation deck of the United Earth, where the old alien could see the vast human fleet stretching across space like a metal ocean. "I tried to warn them," Bextor said sadly, his diamond eyes reflecting the lights of 10,000 human warships. "But even I underestimated your species' capacity for sustained effort." "We did not want this war," Admiral Lim replied, his voice carrying the weight of 5 years of combat. "But once the Drakmari killed our people, stopping became impossible. My own daughter died in the New Busan attack. How do I explain to her memory that we gave up before achieving justice?" The conversation revealed the fundamental difference between humans and other species. Most civilizations fight until the cost becomes too high, then make peace. Humans fight until the principle is satisfied, regardless of cost. "How long will this continue?" Bextor asked. "Until every Drakmari understands that attacking civilians, anyone's civilians, brings consequences that last forever," Admiral Lim answered. As the 6th year began, the Drakmari Empire officially requested surrender negotiations, but they discovered that human terms were absolute: complete disarmament, supervised government for 50 years, payment for war damages, and permanent human monitoring stations throughout their territory. War Chief Grixtal, speaking for his broken empire, asked the question that haunted the galaxy: "For how long will you maintain these restrictions?" Admiral Lim's answer sent chills through every listening alien civilization. "Until we are convinced that no Drakmari, born or unborn, will ever again consider attacking human civilians. That might be 50 years. It might be 500. Time is irrelevant. Our commitment is absolute." The Drakmari leadership realized they had no choice. Their empire was finished. Their fleets were destroyed. Their colonies were in rebellion. They could surrender and live under human supervision, or they could fight to extinction. We accept your terms," Grixtal said, his proud warrior voice now broken and defeated. But the humans were not finished. The surrender was just the beginning of their real plan. "The Drakmari Empire is dissolved," Admiral Lim announced to the galaxy. "The Drakmari people will be reformed into a peaceful society under human guidance. Their aggressive culture will be replaced with one focused on construction and healing." The galaxy watched in silence as humanity demonstrated its most terrifying characteristic. They did not just win wars, they reshaped entire civilizations to ensure those wars could never be repeated. Other alien empires began to reconsider their own aggressive plans. The Zephyrian Collective quietly abandoned their expansion programs. The crystalline hegemony disbanded their war fleets. No one wanted to risk awakening the human war machine. The Drakmari surrender marked the end of traditional galactic warfare. Every species now knew that attacking civilians would bring consequences that transcended time and space. The humans had not just won a war, they had changed the fundamental rules of how civilizations interacted. As the surrender ceremonies concluded, Admiral Lim sent a message to all human forces. Phase 1 is complete. The Drakmari threat is ended. Phase 2 begins now, making sure it never returns. The galaxy realized that for humans, victory was not just defeating their enemies. Victory was ensuring that their enemies could never again pose a threat to innocent people. And in the depths of space, human monitoring stations took their positions around every former Drakmari world, beginning their long watch, a watch that would continue until every trace of the old aggressive culture was gone forever. 10 years had passed since the Drakmari attack on New Busan. The galaxy now operated under completely different rules. The human victory was not just military, it was philosophical, proving that actions have consequences that reach across time and space. Ambassador Chang Wu-moon represented Earth at the reformed Galactic Council. The council now met on Harmony Station, a neutral world. The meeting hall had been redesigned to accommodate the new reality. Human observers sat in every session, not as conquerors, but as peacekeepers. The Drakmari delegation was led by former War Chief Grixtal, now a civilian administrator. Under human supervision, Drakmari society had undergone complete transformation. Their warrior culture had evolved into one focused on engineering and environmental restoration. Their aggressive instincts were now channeled into constructive projects. The food production facilities on Krathmore have exceeded targets by 12%, Grickstall reported. His once proud voice now carried undertones of resignation and, surprisingly, satisfaction. The atmosphere cleaning systems on 6 colony worlds show steady improvement in air quality. Administrator So-hee Kim, overseeing the Drakmari Rehabilitation Program, nodded approvingly. Your people have shown remarkable adaptability. The transition from military empire to ecological restoration society has succeeded beyond our projections. The success was not without controversy. Many Galactic Council members questioned whether humans had the right to reshape entire civilizations, regardless of provocation. Ambassador Moon addressed these concerns directly. We did not choose to become the galaxy's peacekeepers, he stated calmly. But when the Drakmari attacked our civilians, they forced us to respond. That response revealed a fundamental truth. Most species fight until it becomes unprofitable. Humans fight until it is finished. This characteristic makes us dangerous to aggressors, but invaluable to those seeking lasting peace. The evidence supported his argument. In the decades since human emergence as a galactic power, wars between star systems had decreased by 70%. The knowledge that attacking any species might trigger human intervention had created unprecedented stability. Captain Min-ho John commanded the patrol ship Eternal Watch, one of hundreds of human vessels maintaining peace throughout former Drakmari space. His crew included both humans and reformed Drakmari, working together to prevent the rise of new aggressive powers. The Drakmari actually make excellent peacekeepers, Captain Jeon observed during his monthly report to Fleet Command. Their warrior training translates well to conflict prevention, and their experience as former aggressors helps them identify potential threats. This integration represented the most surprising aspect of human strategy. Rather than simply defeating their enemies, humans worked to transform them into allies. The process took decades, required enormous resources, and demanded patience that other species considered impossible. Dr. Hai-Jin Oh, director of the Galactic Conflict Prevention Institute, explained the human approach to visiting diplomatic students. We learned from our own history that temporary victories create future problems. When you defeat an enemy without changing their underlying motivations, you simply postpone the next war. True victory requires transformation of both the victor and the defeated. The Drakmari transformation served as a model for other potential conflicts. The Zephyrian Collective, observing human methods, voluntarily reformed their own society after discovering their expansion plans might be viewed as aggressive. The Crystalline Hegemony disbanded their war fleets preemptively, choosing peaceful development over risking human attention. Vextor, now ancient even by his species standards, served as historical advisor to the new Galactic Council. His warnings about human persistence had become legendary, studied by every diplomatic academy in known space. They remain the most terrifying species I have ever encountered, he told students during his final lecture before retirement. Not because they are cruel or bloodthirsty, but because they are absolutely relentless in pursuit of their principles. They have created a galaxy where aggression against civilians carries consequences that span generations. The human home system had transformed into the galaxy's unofficial capital, with Earth serving as the final court of appeal for interstellar disputes. The Sol Defense Fleet, once a small collection of primitive vessels, now consisted of millions of ships crewed by dozens of species united under human command. Admiral Yeonsu Park, granddaughter of Admiral Sunja Park, who commanded the first human victories, oversaw this vast armada from her flagship New Soul's Promise. The ship's name reflected human philosophy. They were not seeking empire but ensuring their promises of protection were kept. 10 years ago, the Drakmari learned that humans never let go, Admiral Park observed during the anniversary ceremony commemorating the New Busan massacre. Today, every species in the galaxy knows that attacking civilians, anyone's civilians, will bring consequences that last until the problem is permanently solved. The ceremony itself demonstrated how thoroughly the galaxy had changed. Representatives from hundreds of worlds gathered to honor not just human dead, but all victims of unprovoked aggression. The Drakmari delegation presented a memorial sculpture, crafted from materials from their own homeworld, symbolizing their transformation from aggressors to protectors. Former war chief Grixtal spoke at the ceremony. 10 years ago, I led an empire that believed strength meant the ability to destroy. The humans taught us that true strength means the ability to build and protect. We honor the dead of New Busan, not just as human victims, but as teachers who showed us a better path. The most remarkable change was in galactic culture itself. Young aliens grew up in a universe where aggression was not just discouraged, but essentially impossible. The human monitoring network ensured that any species showing signs of dangerous militarization was immediately offered assistance in finding peaceful alternatives. The system was not perfect. Some species complained about human interference in their internal affairs. Others argued that the new order stifled natural competition and evolution. But none could deny the results. The galaxy was more peaceful than it had been in recorded history. As the ceremony concluded, Ambassador Moon delivered the annual peace address, broadcast throughout the galaxy. We remember New Busan not to celebrate victory but to reaffirm our commitment. The humans who died there gave their lives to teach the galaxy a simple truth. Actions have consequences that transcend time and space. Their sacrifice created a peace that will endure as long as we remember why it was necessary. The galaxy listened in respectful silence, understanding that human power rested not on superior technology or overwhelming numbers, but on an absolute commitment to seeing justice done. The warning first spoken by Vextor had become cosmic law. Do not attack the humans, or anyone under their protection, because they will never, ever let you go. In the end, humanity's greatest victory was not military, but moral. They had created a galaxy where aggression carried consequences so severe and lasting that most species chose cooperation over conflict. The universe had not become human, it had become humane, and in the depths of space, human monitoring stations continued their eternal vigilance, ensuring that the lesson learned in blood and fire would never be forgotten. The watch would continue, generation after generation, until every species in the galaxy understood that some lines must never be crossed. The humans had kept their promise. They had never let go, and they never would.